everyone. So I want to talk about basics today. I started thinking about this because I practice karate. Most of you know I've been practicing martial arts for a long time. It's a passion of mine. I love it so much. And it's even more fun for me because I recently got my daughter Chloe. She started practicing with me. So I go and take my lessons and she's been taking them with me. And so what that has caused me to do, if I want to take lessons with her, is go back to basics, right? She's starting as a white belt. So I'm now doing basically her curriculum with her. And so that's been very fun for me. So, even my master said, do you want to do the basics along with her? Well, I actually love it. So where I train, they never sort of take their focus off of the basics. They're always paying attention to basics. No matter how advanced the program is or how advanced the classes are, they never lose focus of basics because basics are the ingredient that's always going to carry you the furthest. If your basics aren't right, nothing else is going to be right. So in fact, I think it's my master always says, basics plus conditioning equal unity. So you always want to make sure that your basics are correct. And then you always want to make sure you're conditioned as well, right? Because you want everything to come together to make it right. So I love going to these classes with my daughter, and it took me back to the very beginning, which is actually really, really valuable. And it started me thinking about you guys on your health journey. So all along, ever since January, we've been talking about why people fall off their programs so quickly, why they give up their New Year's resolutions so fast. And so I don't even like to call them New Year's resolutions. I just want you to talk about your health goals. It's because people aren't truly committed to them. But part of it can also be not just because of that. Sometimes people who are pretty advanced in their program end up falling off. So this is where I want to talk to you. If you've been doing really well for a long time and all of a sudden you realize, I'm not doing so well, or maybe you didn't even notice you weren't doing that well, but you're not. It's time to do an inventory check, right? How are your basics? Maybe you need to go back and remember when you started as a white belt. I'm always telling people I want you to get your black belt in health, but you never can forget those steps you took as a white belt. You got to go back. Because even me, like as a coach and as a nurse and someone who helps a lot of people, I promise you, I get busy. It's like second nature to me now, but that is where you are actually the most vulnerable. When you are not paying attention because you think you've got it sort of down, that's when you are the most vulnerable. So that's when little things can creep in. All of a sudden you notice things are creeping into your cabinets, or you're in a restaurant and you're like, I don't feel like being so vigilant today. I'm going to order off the menu and I'm just going to I'm just going to order it the way it is. I'm not going to customize it this time. I just don't feel like it. And then pretty soon that happens once or twice, and the next thing you know, like those little habits, now your basics that were really clean are no longer clean. You're not following the same program that you started off on, right? And so that's how I've seen even black belts start to become sloppy in their practice. So that's why where I train, they're always going back to basics. I don't care how advanced you are, you go back and you do the white belt curriculum. So it's been really fun for me to actually start over again with my daughter and go through her curriculum with her, and I'm like, I actually did I haven't done this for a long time. It's not that I forgot it, but I haven't done this for a long time, and I really needed to dust this off. I really needed to go back and recall some of this stuff, because these basics are what the advanced stuff is made of. It's like your alphabet, right? So you learn your alphabet before you learn words. You learn words before you learn sentences. You learn sentences before you learn paragraphs. The same thing is true when you are trying to become really advanced and have your health program become second nature. You really got to know that alphabet first. So I wanted to just really talk to you about if you are falling off, right? If you set your New Year's resolution or your goals and you're having trouble with it, but you have been doing well for a while, think about your basics. I want you to go back and talk about it. So if you're a black belt in health, I want you to just think about if you're really advanced. What have you been doing recently? Have you been really thinking about where you started from? Or have you been getting a little bit lazy? Really think about it for a second, question yourself, and think about what you might actually do. Here's the thing. I noticed that when I got my actual black belt, not in health, but actually my real black belt in martial arts, anybody who's ever practiced martial arts or even done a sport or been really proficient at something that you really love, most of you might notice something. I felt that I didn't really start to grow or really learn much. It's the weirdest thing, because you think that when you get a black belt, that's when you're an expert. But for some reason, I was so excited to become a black belt when I became one, because I'm like, oh, I actually know stuff now. And then all of a sudden I remember going in and thinking, I'm actually really learning stuff now. Like, now is when I feel like the real journey is beginning. Because before that, I had been so focused on learning like the details and the steps and memorizing stuff and trying to get through the curriculum and really trying to focus on every step of what I was doing, that to take in the bigger picture, to really take it in and grow and go to the next level was really difficult. So it was when I got my black belt that the real journey began. So that is not the time to quit. That's my point. That's not the time to quit. But so many black belts quit after they get their black belt because they think that that's really all there is. And that's really sad. And I see that happen with so many people with their health. They get their black belt, they get good, they reach their goals, they lose 100 pounds or more, and they get lazy and quit because they think, well, I reached my goal, that's all there is. And they don't realize that all the joy, everything that they've been working for is really on the other side of that. All the health benefits just started right then. And then they quit and they fall off and they just give up. It's like, what is that about? No, it's when you start that, it's when you get to that black belt level, that's when the real joy starts. That's when your real energy is going to like elevate. That's when you're open to really going to that next level, taking it all in, being able to do the things you've always dreamed of doing because you're not so 100% focused on just getting healthy. Now you can start to do some really cool things, but you can never forget the basics. That's my point. You can never forget the basics, because if you do and you're not vigilant and you forget those basics, those bad habits will creep in eventually. And that's what I started to notice when I was working out with my daughter. I'm like, I didn't even notice that like a couple of things, it's not that they were even like bad habits creeping in, I just sort of forgot and I wasn't practicing some of the stuff that I really need to be focusing on. So it was really valuable to me. So I want you to think about something. What bad habits have been creeping into your program that are robbing you of all the benefits that you're going to just now start to, notice and reap and enjoy? And I want you to do these things. I want you to go into your pantry today, go into your refrigerator in your pantry, and go through it. Those of you who have been following me for very long or who have read The Brain Warrior's Way or the Omni Diet, the first step is to clean out your pantry. But over time, I can almost promise you that some of you have let things get back into your pantry that shouldn't be in there. There's no business for them to be in there. There was in mine. I'm going to be really honest. Went into my refrigerator and I'm like, oh, I've gotten really lazy. We had a couple of parties, and for me, my idea of, my 95.5, there was coconut milk ice cream in there that's been in there for a while, and I'm like, yeah, I've not been my 100%. I'm not as vigilant as I have been in the past. So I need to get rid of it. So there are things in there that have crept in that I don't need. I don't want them in there. So I want you to go in and clean out your pantry. The next step that I want you to do is to go download, because most of you don't still have it. If you have the book, The Brain Warrior's Way or the Omni Diet, great. Then you have a quick start guide, most likely in the back of the book. You don't need to do this. If not, go to tanaamen.com and for free, download the quick start guide. There's a quick start guide. You can download it. It will tell you what to specifically, exact things to clean out of your pantry. It will also help you with the third thing, and that is, want you to load up, stock up on all the things that are going to help you get back on track. Because it's not enough to just know what you're doing wrong. You got to fix it, right? So you've got to fix what you're doing wrong. So when I'm practicing, I'm like, oh, I just realized I got a little lazy with turning my foot enough in order to get a really good roundhouse kick, or whatever it is. I can't just know that I'm not turning my foot. I've got to start practicing turning my foot again, right? Or whatever. I'm just giving you some random detail. But you've got to fix whatever it is. So take inventory, clean out the bad stuff, notice what it is that needs to change, but then change it. So go load your house up with some really healthy stuff, and then make one recipe that'll get you started. Okay? So that's going to be your kickoff. Pick one recipe off of my website if you don't have the books, or if you have the books, go pick your favorite one and just make it. That is your journey. That's going to get you started tonight. So do something proactive to get yourself back on track. Start with the basics. I hope this was helpful.